Hey everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be talking about dynamics and tone. My name is Mr. Saric, and this is my guitar class. So the most important thing I want you to take away from today is going to be that the tone and dynamics are going to work together to create a mood for the piece that you're playing. And I like to think of this much the same as if you were to say two sentences, but each with a different tone of voice. You would convey a completely different meaning. Much the same in music, where the tones actually matter. And if you're playing a happy piece or a love song, you're going to choose different tones for those pieces to help convey the message. Now, just to sort of separate the two for a minute here, let's talk about dynamics in terms of creating some interest in the piece. And what we can do is we can change the dynamics from section to section, or we could do little things in the same section. For example, if there was a run going up the guitar and you saw something like that. Okay, so I just played that same dynamics all the way through. But what if we did something like this? Right? You create a little bit of interest. So I was doing it loud, then soft, loud, then soft. The other thing is, if a piece has a repeat, you never really want to play the exact same stuff the same way in the piece. So what you'll do is, upon repeating, you can make the decision to try and change the volume that you played it. So if you played it forte the first time, or loud, then you would play it piano the second time, or soft, or vice versa, right? The main thing is for you to look at the piece and try and make it as interesting as possible for the listener. Now you can do that same sort of thing with tone changes. We can make it interesting for the listener. I'm going to use the same pattern, but this time we're going to start here with our tone and move it back sort of to a more trebly sound. Right? And we get really gritty near the end of that. So again, I think the big thing is just to experiment. Try pieces and try different sections. Try and make them interesting to yourself as you're playing them, and that will add a little bit of depth to the pieces that you're playing. Now, for electric guitar players, it's going to be slightly different. Unfortunately, moving your pick back and forth doesn't do as much for the tone as it does on an acoustic guitar. But we have the beauty of having two different pickups. And these pickups are going to change the tone in much the same way. Now, you have a little switch here. The way most of these switches are programmed is that if you have it all the way up, you are only using the neck pickup, which should give you a warm tone. If you have it set in the middle, you're going to be using both pickups, and if you have it set to the bottom, you're only using the bridge pickup. So what could we do with that? Well, if you've been listening to this background music, I've been playing Cliffs of Dover, and I'm going to show you on that song what you could potentially do with the tone changes. Okay, so what we're going to start with is the neck pickup, right? We've got that selected. we're going to play the first phrase with the neck pickup, then we're going to move to the second phrase, and we're going to switch it to the bridge pickup to give us a little bit of a different tone. Alright, I think that's enough of a demo, but you get the idea. I started with the neck pickup, went to the bridge pickup for the next section, switched it back to the neck pickup for the section after that. And something I even did there was, as I went up into the chords, I put a palm mute down. And palm mute also changes the tone a little bit. So there's sort of another level of tone change that you can do and play around with. Again, I'm going to repeat myself, but experiment with it. Try it out, see what you like the best, and do that. Alright, so for this next part, I'm going to talk about using your volume and your tone knobs. Now, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. There is a fantastic video, and I will leave that in a link in the description. He describes it very well. I'm just going to summarize it very, very quickly by saying that if you have those knobs set at 10, there's nowhere to go from there to get louder, other than having another pedal to do that same function. It's quite easy to just touch your volume knob, get it to max when you need it if you're going for a solo. And it's the very same idea with your tone. But I would like to say that the volume knob doesn't lose that much volume if you're in a situation like I was when I was playing Cliffs of Dover. It actually changes the distortion. So this is something you can play around with. Let's listen to it. So here is maxed out. Here is just off of max. And let's get lower volume. Do you notice that the volume change wasn't as drastic as what you might have thought it would be? But the amount of distortion, take a look. There is definitely a volume change, but I think it changed the distortion more than the volume. Okay, so we're going to leave it at that. Let's recap. Use your dynamics and your tone to set a mood for the piece. You can use dynamics or tone to give a repeated section a new feel. If you're on an electric guitar, don't forget to check out the video in the description below, and just know that you can change your tone in the middle of a song. And lastly, be creative and use all of the techniques at your disposal to create a masterpiece of your own. There's going to be your personality in everything that you play, so keep that in mind. If you liked the video, hit the like button and please consider subscribing. Also, if you have any guitar-related questions, leave them in the comments below and that will guide my future videos. Thanks for watching.